Next thing I'd like to show you are leverages. And this is going to be a situation where an opponent is going to grab me, and I'm going to show you different ways to break the grab and to use different wrist locks against him in a strong position, which means that he's going to be in a weak position and allow you to defend yourself. So to start this off, I'm going to start real basic, and let's say the opponent grabs my shirt. What you're going to do is you're going to take your thumb and you're going to put it on the back of his hand. Your fingers are going to wrap over his thumb, not his wrist, over his thumb. Now I don't want to try and peel his hand off here because he's too strong. I've got to hurt him a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hammer here to the bicep. That's going to break his grip here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cross my fingers over on the back of his hand and take him down here. See? Then from there I can do many different things. So the opponent grabs. Again, thumb on the back of his hand. My fingers wrap around his thumb. I'm going to strike here. That's going to break his grip. I'm striking to the bicep. As I turn his hand up, what I'm going to try and do is to fold his hand right over onto his wrist. I cross my thumbs for a little extra strength, and I turn it over and down this way. A little bit faster, he grabs. I strike here, see? Now I take him down, see? From here, pressure. From the other side, he grabs. So that you see this finger position, my thumb goes on the back of his hand, my fingers go into the palm. If I go to his wrist, when I strike him and I try and do this leverage, because my fingers are in his wrist, it keeps it from folding over and takes the pressure off. So it's important that my fingers are around his thumb and in the palm of his hand. So as he grabs, I come up here, thumb on the back of his hands, not his fingers. I hammer here to the bicep. Turn his hand, I'm crossing my thumbs this way, and I take him down. One more time, a little bit faster. He grabs, pressure. From a standing position, it'll look like this. You're going to step into this strike. As he grabs, he hammers and brings the opponent down. The grab is the same. The opponent grabs, he puts his thumb on the back of his hand, fingers go around the thumb, he hammers to the bicep, and now he's going to step and take him straight to the ground. He's dropping to his knee to do this leverage. Next leverage I'd like to show you. The opponent grabs me. This time what I'm going to do is my thumb is going to go between his thumb and forefinger. I'm reaching up here with my right, and my fingers are going to go around the back of his hand. Again, he's too strong because I haven't heard him to move him here, so I'm going to strike up to his elbow, and I'm going to turn his hand over. And right now it's a little L shape with his hand and forearm. I put pressure by trying to point his fingers towards his ear. That's just slightly above his elbow, and it's pressure here. From here I could step in, I could strike to break, grab his thumb to tear, I could punch him here, you see. Many things you can do from that position. So he grabs. Again, my thumb goes between thumb and forefinger, all right? If I could block this man off, but if I had a $50 shirt on and I block it off, he's going to have 20 of it in his hand. So when he grabs, thumb between thumb and forefinger. That's a good anchored position. That's right in the web of the hand. I'm going to strike up to the elbow to make his arm come up and cause enough pain to make him release, or I could break it. From there, I'm going to turn it over, see, to get him in this position. Again, I could hammer to break. I could break his wrist from here, or I could just set him down this way. From the other side, he grabs, thumb on thumb and forefinger, strike up to the forearm, over, hammer. From a standing position, looks like this. Opponent grabs, takes him over, steps into hammer. From the other side, he grabs, strikes to the elbow, takes him over, steps into hammer. This time the opponent's going to grab in the middle. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just turn his fist up just slightly. I'm not trying to make him let go. I just want to turn his fist up slightly. I'm going to hook him here at the bend of his arm from the top, and I'm going to bring him in. There's a lot of pressure on this particular movement. From here, I can strike here with my forearm. So what I do, I bring the opponent to me. First, I turn his fist so that his little finger is slightly up. I'm going to bring him in here at the bend of the arm. Don't bring him in up here. I bring him to me. And that creates a lot of pressure on his wrist. There's a lot of pressure. It's easy to break a man's arm from here. Now, to follow through, I elbow. All right? From the other side, he grabs. I just turn his hand up, bring the opponent into me at the bend of the arm, and now forearm to strike. All right? So he grabs. Thumb between thumb and forefinger. It's the same kind of grab as before. I turn his little finger just slightly up, or his fist up. Bring him into you. Don't move into him because there's no pressure. When you turn it up, I bring him to me. See? Now from here, I strike him. From a standing position, he grabs. He's going to turn his hand just slightly up, and he's going to bring him into him. And then he strikes. The other side, he grabs, turns the hand up, brings him in at the elbow, dropping to his knee, coming back up, he knees. This time the opponent grabs my shoulder. What I'm going to do is I'm going to strike him first to the groin with a back knuckle. I'm going to come underneath his arm, and I'm going to move slightly in to get in tight. When I come over his arm, I want to stay just above his elbow and pressure down. See? Now from here, with a little bit of leverage, what I can do is to break his arm by putting pressure on his elbow. So he grabs, I strike, I come here. Now from here, see, pressure to break. I could grab his hair, his eyes, his nose, see, to finish. Last time, he grabs, real slow, I just punch to his groin. It could be a punch, back knuckle, knee, kick. You're going to move slightly in because you want his arm to come up over your shoulder, almost around your neck. Just move back slightly to bring him down. Then what you're going to do is just cross arms, just like you're going to hug his arm and break it. See? If you wanted to finish, grab his chin, see? Hammer to his spine, jaw. Always finish a man. In every technique that I give you, there are many different ways to finish somebody, but never just hurt them slightly and expect that you can walk away. If a man gets back up, he's much smarter. He grabs a stick, pulls his gun out, gets a knife, calls his friend. You don't want that. So if somebody tries to hurt you, you've got to hurt them so that you can get away. From a standing position, you're not going to bring the opponent low because it'll put you out of position for this particular movement. So as the opponent grabs, he's going to step in and palm up underneath the chin. Now from here, he's going to come underneath his arm. He's going to drop down to his knee and put pressure, and then the break. One more time, he grabs. He steps into palm. Puts the arm back behind his neck, pressure on his elbow, and then the break. From here, the opponent's going to grab me from behind. And I'm going to take just a slight look back to make sure I know exactly where he's at. As I grab his hand, I'm elbow to his ribs. I'm going to bring the hand up over my head, and I'm going to put pressure on his wrist to pull him forward. I'm going to tuck his arm up behind him and put pressure here. See? Here's a break. Here's a break. So again, he grabs me from behind. Again, I'm grabbing the back of the hand. My thumb goes between thumb and forefinger. My fingers go around into the palm of his hand as much as I can get. I'm going to elbow to the ribs. From here, I'm going to bring him over and around and bring him up this way. Here there's a break, and if I bring it up this way there's a break. So a little bit faster, he grabs. I come around this way, see? Break, break. From a standing position, he grabs, he elbows, brings him around, brings it up behind him, breaks at the wrist, and breaks at the elbow. Again, he grabs, elbows into the ribs, brings him over, bends his arm, breaks, and breaks. If a man were to choke you, there are many, many different ways to get out of it. Here are just a few. If he were to choke my throat, first thing is that both his arms are occupied, so it's really difficult for him to defend himself. I could punch to the groin here. He could choke me. If I just take two fingers and push them into his throat and extend, he has to let go. So again, these two are that I could strike to his groin with a punch, or I could bring my fingers up, and I'm using my forefinger and middle finger to push in right at the base of his throat, and I extend out, and this makes him let go. He could choke me. I'm going to support his wrist from the inside, and I'm going to strike to his elbow to break it. So the strike is here. Real slow. I support from the inside, and I'm striking here with the palm of my hand to break. The next thing I could do would be to reach up and grab his hair, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to force him down by putting pressure on his neck. So he grabs, I come here. Yeah! See? He chokes from the other side. When I grab his hair, I'm not grabbing the top. I'm reaching in to get as close to the scalp as I can, giving me more torque. So when I bring him down, he's here. Now if I want to, see, strike his head against the pavement. Here's the last one. He chokes. All I'm going to do is I'm going to reach across with my arm, both his arms, to bring him in. Then I elbow. So he chokes. I reach across. I'm using my arm way up tight to come across his wrist this way. He comes in. Now I elbow. From the other way, he chokes. I come across this way, bring him in, elbow, follow up with a strike. So, real quickly, this is one. I punch to his groin. I always check a hand. All right? I punch to his groin, finger jab into his throat, here. He chokes, or with my left, I finger jab into his throat. He chokes, I support his wrist here and break here. From the other side, I support and I break here. I grab his hair here, take him down. He chokes. I grab his hair here, take him down. So if a man chokes you, it's so easy to get out of it. He could choke me. I could just strike him with my chair here, see? And then follow up to punch. So there's so many things to do. For a man to choke you, it should be impossible. It just should be impossible when it's a two-handed choke around your throat. Next thing I'd like to show you, I'm going to give you some lessons, and these are choreographed fighting sequences. Though they're choreographed, eventually what you're going to do is just learn to use yourself instantly and reactionally to a punch. Doesn't matter which punch or kick the man's going to throw, because you will have seen enough lessons that you're going to be able to just respond to that particular kind of attack and know many different ways to use yourself. In San Soo, our whole thought is that we want to explore as many different variables and situations as possible in order for us to be prepared for whatever kind of attack somebody might come at us with. For instance, that's why I can fight from sitting down. We don't just practice fighting from standing up. We practice from sitting down, from lying down, from all kinds of positions. Now these lessons, again, are kind of like a drop in the ocean. There are literally thousands of lessons. If I give you 20 lessons, you have really about 500 lessons, because you're going to be able to manipulate the moves, make changes, and understand different ways of how to move into a man in order for you to find the vulnerable places of his body, to use different striking techniques to different parts of his body, and different ways to manipulate him by ways of leverages, by ways of using his hair, his balance weaknesses, those kinds of things. So this first lesson, this is going to start off with an out block. The opponent throws a right punch. I'm going to block out, and I'm going to strike to his nose with an extension punch. I'm going to punch to his groin. I'm going to roundhouse to his temple, which is going to open him up. I'm now going to throw a left punch right into the spleen to take him down. I'm going to move in, and with my chair, I'm going to strike to his ankle, bringing his head up so that I can throw a right punch into his eye. So as he punches, I block and strike. Punch, I hook. From here, I'm going to punch into the spleen. I'm going to strike to his leg, and then to his eye. A little smoother, he punches. From a standing position, the opponent punches, left out block, left step, and a right punch to the nose. Now he punches to the groin with his left. He's going to take a slight step out, and he's going to roundhouse to the temple. Now he's going to kick to the spleen. The opponent's down. He's going to take a step, stomp to the ankle, step off of his ankle as he punches to the temple or eye. Again, real slow. Opponent punches, left step, left out block, right punch. He now punches to the groin. He's going to roundhouse to the temple. He's going to step up and kick to the spleen. Opponent's down. Steps and stomps to the ankle. Punches to the temple. One time fast. This next lesson, opponent throws a left punch. I'm going to block out, and as I do, I'm going to strike with my right to his nose. I'm going to backhand to his groin and then uppercut to his nose. I'm going to lift my chair, bringing the front wheels off the ground. I'm going to ride his ankle down. I go above his ankle, actually onto his shin. I'm now going to stomp to bring his head up. I'm going to move in, and with my left hand, I grab his hair, pull him over, and now I hammer right to the base of the skull, back of his neck. Again, he punches. 1, 2. You uppercut here. Now you're going to ride his ankle down. I put the front of my footrest actually on his shin. I'm going to stomp to bring his head up, grab his hair, and I'm going to hammer back of his neck. A little bit faster, he punches. This is off of a left punch. The opponent punches, out block, and you're striking to the nose. He steps behind the opponent with his right leg as he strikes. Now he's going to backhand to the groin to bring the opponent back around a little bit. Instead of an uppercut, he's going to knee up. Now he's going to step in with his left. He's going to put the edge of his foot up against the ankle and ride it down. He's going to step off, stomp to bring the opponent up. He's going to grab his hair with his left, step over, and hammer. Again, real slow. Out block, step and punch. He's going to backhand to the groin. He's going to knee up with his left, steps down with his left, he rides his leg down on against the inside of his shin. He now stomps with his left, grabs his hair with the left, step across the opponent's leg, and hammer to the back of the neck. One time fast.
Hey! Hey! Yeah! Hey! Yeah!
In this particular lesson, opponent's going to throw a left punch, I'm going to outblock, and I'm going to punch to the ribs, which is going to bring his head down. From here, I'm going to back elbow. I still want to hold on to his arm. I'm going to back elbow here to his jaw. Now I'm going to move his arm out of the way, punch to his solar plexus. I'm going to move in, and I'm going to put my arm up on his shoulder and just against his hands if they're there. All right? I'm going to begin to take him off balance, and my right hand's going to grab his leg to sweep him down. From here, I'm going to lift my chair, holding onto his leg, stomp to the groin. I'm going to move in and place this on my shoulder. From here, I'm going to grab his knee and pull to break. I'm going to reach in, grab his hair with my right and my left, and I'm going to slam his nose into his knee and let him go. So the opponent punches, 1, 2, 3. I move in, get him going to sweep his leg out. From here, I stomp to his groin, put this up on my shoulder. Make sure it's a good brace, and now your hands are going to go just above his knee. You're going to break here, grab his hair with your right, then your left, and then strike. So he punches, 1, 2, yeah! Okay, here is the same lesson from standing. The opponent throws a left punch. Left block, step out with your right, and right punch to the ribs. You're now going to step in a little bit closer with your right as you back elbow. Now with your right arm, you move his arm out of the way, left punch to the solar plexus. From here, you're going to take a left step to get in position. It's going to be a little different sweep. Your left hand's going to go low to grab his leg. Your right leg is going to come up behind his, and you're going to push and sweep his leg up in the air. From there, you're going to grab his foot, both hands, and you're going to stomp with your right to the groin. You're going to step down with your right, step out with your left, pinning his heel up against your thigh. Now you're going to twist out to your right to break. That brings his head up. You're going to grab his head with your right, step back with your left, and drive his nose into your knee. Again, a little slower. Punches, out block, step, and punch with your right. Now you move in closer behind the opponent, and you back elbow. Now then, right arm moves his out of the way, punched with your left to the solar plexus. Now you're going to take a left step, get in kind of deep and turn your foot out. Now what you're going to do is grab with your left, your right leg is going to go behind his and sweep it out. You're going to grab his foot. You're going to stomp to the groin, put your right foot down, step out with your left, almost into a full horse. And you're going to pin his heel up against your thigh and twist to break. Then you grab his hair with your right, step back with your left, drive his nose into your knee and let him go. One time kind of fast. Punches.
Hey! Hey! Yeah! Hey! Hey! Yeah! Hey! Hey!
In this lesson, the opponent punches. I outblock. Now what I'm doing when I outblock and grab, I block and then let my hand fall over to grab the arm that he's punching with. At the same time, I'm clawing down across his face. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to the bend of his arm with my right. My left is going to bring his arm up just like a crank, and I'm on top of his hand, and I take him down this way. From here, I put pressure on his wrist to raise him up. Keeping pressure here to hold the opponent up, I hammer to his nose to take him down. So again, I outblock and grab. At same time, I strike down across his face with a claw. My fingers are like this. I go to the bend of his arm and crank his arm up this way with my left. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push with my right, his elbow here. With my left, I'm going to push this way to take him down. See, pressure here. From here, I keep pressure on his wrist and I lift this way. A lot of pain, so you got to be careful. From here, yeah, straight to his nose. So the opponent punches, one, yeah. From here, strike him. Last time, he punches, out block. Punches, out block and claw. From here, take him down. Pressure to bring him up. Hammer to his nose. From a standing position, the opponent throws a left punch. It's a left out block, right claw to the eyes. Your arm drops down to the bend of his arm. Left, picking up the arm, getting ready to crank it down. What he's going to do is he's going to step back behind him and crank the opponent down. Keeping pressure on the wrist, he's going to pull him into him. Notice that his back is straight. Don't lean. You've got to move in close to the opponent to get this pressure on. Now from there, he's going to let go with his right and hammer down to the nose. Again. Opponent punches. It's a block. You're stepping out with your right into a left horse as you right claw to the eyes. Your right hand goes to the bend of his arm. Step back and crank him down. From there, you're going to lift to break and to lift his head up so that you can hammer it back down. It's a little speed. Opponent punches. Well, for this lesson, opponent's going to throw a right punch. I'm going to cross block, and I'm going to palm here to his knee, right above his knee. A palm is using the heel of your palm, and that's the area that you strike with, right above his knee. From here, you're going to roundhouse punch to his temple, which is going to take the opponent down. You're going to stomp to his ankle here. You're going to move slightly out so that you got a good angle, and backhand to his nose. So again, he punches, cross block, palm to his knee. This would break it. I roundhouse punch here to take him down. I'm going to stomp to his ankle, move out, backhand to his nose. Some speed, he punches. From a standing position, the opponent punches. You're going to cross block, and you're going to soccer kick right above his knee. A soccer kick is done with the instep of your foot. You're going to step in, and you're going to roundhouse knee to the temple. The opponent goes down. You're going to step down, and you're going to stomp to his ankle with your right. As the opponent comes up, you're going to punch with your left into the temple. Again, it's a cross block. Soccer kick to the knee for the break. You're going to step down. This is a roundhouse knee. And you knee to the temple. Step down with your left, stomp with your right, step off of his ankle to a good strong horse, punch to his temple. A little faster.
Hey! Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
Here the opponent punches. I'm going to do a left out block and a left hammer into his kidney. I'm going to move around, and I'm going to roundhouse punch to the other kidney. I'm going to grab his hair with my left hand and bring him around towards me. Now I'm going to knee to his nose by either striking on my knee or the corner of my chair. From here I turn his head up, and I hammer to the jaw to strike him down. From here I'm going to move up above his arm. I'm going to punch to his ribs on this side to bring his head this way so I can hammer same side of the jaw that I hit just a moment ago. So he punches, 1, 2, 3, I strike him here. 4, I bring him around, turn up, hammer, move in this way, punch and hammer. So with a little more speed, he punches, grab, from here. Here we're going to go behind the opponent. As he punches, you step behind him and you hammer down to his kidney. You're going to step around with your right and roundhouse punch to his other kidney. Your left hand's going to grab his hair. You're going to take a right step and then left knee up to his nose. You can turn his head up, step down and out as you hammer. Opponent goes down. What you're going to do here is you're going to just take a slight right step, step across, drop your knee into his ribs, then you're going to pivot out of it and punch. The opponent punches, out block. You're going to hammer down to his kidney. You're going to step across with your right and punch with your right. Grab his hair with your left. Bring him back around. Knee up with your left. Step down as you turn his head up, hammer down to his jaw. You're going to take a step across his body and drop your knee into his ribs. Then you're going to just pivot and punch. Some speed, he punches.
Hey, hey, yeah, did, hey, did, yeah.
You're going to go behind the opponent again here. As he throws a punch, you're going to out block and you're going to punch here into his ribs. You're going to bring this hand down and catch the back of his hand with your right. As you do, you're going to go underneath, reach across to grab your wheel and move back behind him to take his arm behind his back. From here, because the way I grabbed his hand allows me to put more pressure, which if his head was too far away, if I put pressure, brings his head back, see? Now I grab his hair and I drive him down to his knees. From here I let go of his hand and I chop side of neck and part throat. I don't ever want to hit a man right on the throat because that'll kill him. Again, he punches, I outblock, strike into the ribs. I'm going to bring his arm down and I'm going to grab the back of his hand. I'm going to push underneath his arm, grab my wheel to pull back and pressure. I twist to make sure I can get a hold of his hair. Bring him down, both pressure on his neck and his arm. From here I let go and chop to his throat. He punches. Yeah. Okay, here as the opponent punches from a standing position, he punches, you block and step out with your right as you punch to the ribs. You're going to switch hands, grab the back of his hand, go underneath, step through and come up behind his back. Grab his hair, and now what you're going to do is step through the opponent to take him down to his knees. Let go of the hand and chop to part neck, part throat. Again, he punches, outblock and punch to the ribs. Switch hands, go underneath, taking a left step, right step, now step through, grab his hair, chop as you step back. Opponent punches. Here the opponent punches, you're going to cross block and you're going to backhand to his nose. From here you're going to use your footrest and you're going to kick to his shin. You're going to grab his hair with your left and turn his head up so that you can grab his chin. If you leave his head down like this, then you got to reach over. Turn his head up, make it easy. See, from here you're going to pull him over, crank him down this way. From here you're going to just back up, come up and stomp here. So he punches. I kick here. I reach in, grab his hair with my left and turn it up. Grab his chin. Crank him down this way. From here I just back up and stomp. So he punches. Here the opponent punches. He's going to cross block and he's going to backhand to the nose. He's now going to do a front snap kick, making sure that his toes are back to kick with the ball of his foot to his shin. Steps down, grabs his hair, turns his head up to grab the chin. Now what he's going to do is he's going to pivot and step back and throw the man to the ground. He comes up and stomps right down, bridge of the nose. Again, the opponent punches, cross block as you step with your right, you backhand with your right. Takes the opponent back. Now then, front snap kick to his shin, making sure that you're using the ball of your foot. Turn his head up, grab his chin with your right, step back with your right, throw him down. Take a slight left step up and then stomp down to his nose. One time fast. From here, this is for a punch low. The man punches at me. I block and I claw to his face. From here, I'm going to kick to his shin, bringing his head low. I'm going to grab his hair, and my fingers are this way, almost like I start to make a fist. My index finger slightly comes out, and my thumb, and I'm going to go into his eyes and make him go straight back. From here, I'm going to push in. I'm going to let my foot rest ride right over the top of his leg to trap it. This one, I'm going to push out this way to stretch him. This hurts him a lot. I punch to the groin, backhand to the eye. So again, he punches, 1, 2, 3, I strike to his shin. 4, I grab his hair, finger and thumb in his eye. I'm going to roll up and trap this leg. I'm going to push this knee out. I want to stretch him. I want it to hurt him. Punch to the groin and strike to his eye or temple. He punches. Yeah. Okay, here the opponent punches low. You're just going to turn your body coming up on the ball of your foot as you block. Then you're going to claw to the eyes, making sure that he goes straight back. You're going to kick to the shin. Just going to bring the opponent's head down. You're going to grab with your right hand, position your thumb and forefinger out so that you can put it into his eyes and go straight back as you step into him. Now what you're going to do is your foot's going to slide across the ground underneath his leg, then tighten up with the other leg underneath and go into a full horse to spread him. Just a hard stretch. Punch to the groin with your right and then punch to the eye with your left. Again, the opponent punches, low block. As you come up on the ball of your foot, you're going to claw back into his face. You're going to kick to his shin with your left. Ball of the foot is what you're kicking with. Grab his hair with your right. Put your thumb and forefinger in his eyes. You're going to slide up with your left, then your right. Spread him, full horse. Punch into the groin, punch into the eye. You should feel a lot of pressure on this technique on the inside of your legs. One time fast. Here the opponent punches. I'm going to do a left out block. As I do, I'm going to punch right in here to the spleen. I'm going to put my finger in his eye so that he's not going to watch me. It takes his head away. I'm going to move underneath, still holding onto this arm. I'm going to turn his wrist out and down to put pressure here. The way he lands, I keep hold of his hand here, turn his elbow up as high as I can, and go for the break. I'm bracing this against my chair, and I break here. Again, he punches. 1, punch into the spleen. 2, I put my finger in his eye here. 3, I'm going to go underneath, put pressure on his wrist to take him down. I'm up on top here, so I'm just put his hand up against my chair, and I push here on his elbow to break. A lot of pressure on this move, so don't push too hard. He punches. Here, as the opponent punches, it's a left out block, right step out diagonally as you punch into the ribs. Your finger jab to the eye to get him to look away. Now what you do is you're going to step underneath as you grab his hand, drop down to your right knee, take the opponent down. Now what you're going to do is put your shin up against his elbow, come into a full horse, and pull to break. Opponent punches, out block and strike into the ribs. Finger jab into his eye. Step underneath the opponent's arm, drop down to your right knee. You're right in front of him as you drop to your knee. You put your shin up against his elbow, step up into a left horse, and go for the break.
If you're an individual who uses braces and crutches, and your balance might be an issue in defending yourself from a standing position, what you would want to do is to go ahead and control your fall and fall to the ground on your own rather than have an opponent knock you down, putting you in a position of trying to catch yourself and ward off an assault by your opponent. So in this particular situation, what you'd want to do is to go ahead and fall to the ground, controlling yourself. Then as the opponent, this particular exercise, what we're going to do is as he punches, I'm going to cross block and strike to his groin. From here, I'm going to put my left hand right behind his heel, and I'm going to roll my hip up into his knee here to take him down. From here, I'm going to just continue my roll, strike into his groin with my elbow, and then back knuckle to his nose. Again, he punches, cross block, backhand to the groin, left hand reaches behind his heel, roll into his knee here. From here, I elbow into his groin, back knuckle to his nose. A lot of pressure here on his leg for me to break. With some speed, he punches. For this next lesson, the opponent's going to kick at me. And what you're going to do, I'm in a low position, so he's still going to kick kind of low. So as he kicks, I block out. I punch to his groin to bring him down to my level. From here, I'm going to move him up and back into me for a flip. From here, hammer down to his nose. Again, he kicks, block, punch. Move him here and pull in. From here, the hammer into his nose. Now his mouth is right here. Be careful not to hit him in the mouth. It's easy to cut your hand when you hit a man in the mouth. So make sure you're on his nose. With some speed, he kicks. In this particular situation, the opponent grabs my jacket. From here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to strike his groin to bring his head down. My left hand is going to reach up and grab. I want to grab on this side of his head so that I can turn his chin up. From here, I'm going to twist him down, claw to his face here, hammer to the side of the neck here. Again, as the opponent grabs, I'm going to strike up to his groin this way. Grab so that I can turn his head to get good leverage on his chin here. Take him down. Claw across his face here and hammer. Don't hammer here because you're too tight. Go ahead and let your hand come out so you've got good balance and hammer it down to the side of his neck. So with some speed he grabs. Bang! Yeah! Hit!